Hey everybody, Marco here, and today I'm going to go through some difficult yajilins. Yajilins are one of my favorite puzzle genres because it's just a really nice example of min-depth hidden complexity, and there's a lot of things you can do with the clues and different patterns. It's really interesting here. I've gone to the website called Puzzle Square, where a lot of authors upload their different puzzles. People can solve them, people can rate them, and I sort of sorted through the yajilins here in order of most likes and picked out some tough ones from here, so hopefully we'll be able to see some interesting stuff here. So these first few are 4-star difficulty, and then I have one that is 5-star difficulty at the end. All right, so here's the first one. We do see a bunch of 0 clues immediately, which we can just fill out. I'm going to try to speed through most of these. There's 2 spots here where, there's only one visible thing anyways. For the 4 clue and the 3 clue, we need 1 cell here. Let's mark the 4 clue as well. 2, that needs this shaded cell. These are just shaded by pattern because they can't be accessible by the loop. This is shaded for the 6 clue. This is shaded for the 7 clue. Everything so far is going pretty autopilot-y. For this 2 clue, there's 1 pair here and there's a shaded cell down here. 1 is shaded in this spot. We have a connection. Like if we do another cut through the middle of the puzzle, we need an even number of loop segments. So here, 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 and here. That's an even number. This connection happens because of the corner, and we can't do this, or we leave a dead end. So this connection happens. Oh, right, this 1 cell sees the shaded cell anyway, so we've got this here going on. There needs to be 2 shaded cells within this 5 here. And if this one is shaded, then we have these loop segments blocking off other shaded stuff. So we do this like so, and we satisfy the 2 like this. 3 shaded cells so far going across here. There's 1 clue pointing up that gives us our 4th. There needs to be a connection that happens through the center here. We can't go down here because then this 1 unshaded cell can't connect to the rest. This goes here. Doing a cut in this spot shows us that we need to go to the left here, and we need to connect the rest. For the 3 and 1 difference, we need a shaded cell in that spot. This needs to connect to the rest. This 1 cell sees this, so all this is unshaded, meaning this is shaded. This needs to go up. This goes down here. Let's go to the right. 2 cells, so this has to go up, and this is shaded as done. All right, nice. Oh yeah, I guess the loop here forms the number 2000, so that's pretty cool. I guess that's why this has a bunch of likes. It's actually, the solve itself was pretty intuitive, but it did form a pretty nice pattern in the end. All right, let's go to the second 4-star puzzle here. Looks like we do start with, it is a fairly small puzzle here. The 0 clues are immediately satisfiable. Let's mark these places. 3 clue, it needs 2 shaded cells on this side and 1 shaded cell on that side. So we can immediately mark these. There's going to be a shaded cell in one of these spots. By parity, I think we can also unshade this cell, because if it is shaded here, yeah, then we have 2 forced deductions, which are both impossible to do. Same thing here. We can't shade this or this because that would make this little region at the bottom have 3 entries. There's a 3 clue going down, and there's only 4 spots where we can do stuff. Right. This part here has to be unshaded because we can do a similar cut across the third row from the bottom here. That means for the 3, we shade these cells at the top. And this is just sort of where can the loop go. That gives us the cells at the bottom. 2 fills out like so. This 3, right. I could have also seen this at the start, but this 3 is interesting because it reduces every bit here to a cell on either the left or the right of this domino here, which does make the other one a loop segment. And because there's 2 entries here, we can do a cut like so, and then we can deduce there's no entry in this way here. Means we gotta shade a cell there. And we can also make a cut going down like this here. We need this to go to the right. So we have 2 things going across this line for connectivity. Looking at another cut here in the center, there's 1 entry at the top, 1 at the left, 1 at the right, 1 at the bottom left. There can't be another entry from the bottom right, so this goes to the right. These go up. This goes like so, and the rest we can loop. I don't think this can go down, because if so, we either have the left and the right sides disjoint from each other, or if we go across, the same things still happens. So this is an X. So we do end up going up like this and resolving the rest by just loop logic. This cell is shaded because of the 1. That means from this cut here, 2 connections have to happen to make sure that the top and the top left and the rest of the puzzle are connected. And then we can just fill out the rest. Very nice, very nice. That was another very intuitive solve, but we made some really nice use of just cut logic in this. Basically, if we draw a path on the edges to like cut the puzzle in 2, we definitely have an even number of loop segments on this cut, and a positive number if there's loop on the left side and loop on the right side, because it needs to all connect. That's that. So let's see the third 4-star puzzle here. It's got 7 clues and in a very nice pattern here. 0 clues are immediately satisfiable. This 2 clue, we can just immediately fill that out on the edge. Now this 2 clue only has 1 possibility remaining here. 3 clue as well, we can just fully shade that. And I think that is all of the trivial things that we get. Right. First things first, I think we definitely need this here unshaded because just it's a corner. I don't think we can have a connection that happens early on here, because then how does the rest of this connect to the rest of the puzzle? We definitely need to at least go here to connect this unshaded cell to the rest. But now this either closes off like this or it takes one more, depending on how the rest goes. Interesting, interesting. We cannot do a shaded cell in this spot, because if we do, let me just do a trial for this. Then we have an uneven cut. We go across 4 loop segments going down here, and then across 1 loop segment going to the right. That is not going to work out, so this is going to be the shaded cell for the 1 clue. We have to take this here. There's still 2 ways this could go. In a similar way, we have 3 entries into the middle, and this would create 2 more entries, and in general it would split this path up, so we can't shade that. We can also not shade either of these bottom cells because that would create a 3rd entry into this 2x4 area. So these are both unshaded as well. So we're going to have to shade either this or this. Either way, it's going to cause something to go into the middle, so that is unshaded. In a similar way to what happened at the top, I think this unshaded cell at this spot needs to connect to the bottom like so, because we cannot have a connection happening through this diagonal. Right, and if we connect this here to the right, we sort of have a self loop happening, because we either have this connection or that connection. So that is not going to be possible. Let's undo here. So we only have one way that this right side can resolve. That does give us this 1 shaded cell down here at the bottom, and the rest of the puzzle falls very nicely. Okay, that was some pretty nice use of the even cut thing, and also these diagonal corners here with the parity. That made for some really cool deductions. I like this one. I like this one a lot. And now let's go to the last one here. Unpause. This is supposed to be our habanero difficulty, our 5-star. We do see a similar thing here where this 3 clue points to 3 dominoes, and each one of these is going to be 1 entry into this top, so there does have to be a 4th entry on the right side over here. I don't think we can shade a cell in this spot or this spot because that creates 3 entries in the top left, so these are both unshaded. That means one of these 2 has to be shaded for this one. Shading over here is fine because we have 1 across 2. This would create a 3rd and a 4th. So that's fine. Shading at the bottom is still fine because we would have 2 connections occurring here. And then we would just have to make sure that there's not a 3rd connection between the sides. These would have to sort of U-turn here. But right, there is one more thing. This 3 clue here, we have 6 cells, and we need to place 2 of those in these 4 cells. We have a bunch of options here, but we can use the same sort of entry deduction here for this right area. If we do this, we create 5 entries, so 1, 2, 3, and then these 2 dominoes resolving. So in fact, the only way to do this properly is to space these 2 shaded cells apart. and we have a connection here. Because if we have an X that still creates 2 entries at the bottom, we need 1 entry. So this sort of travels in an S pattern, either like so or like so, to create this 1 entry. We have a connection that happens at the bottom here because we can't shade any of these cells or else they'll make a dead end. One of these 2 cells is shaded per the 1. I don't know why I marked this one. There's still got to be a shaded cell at the top here. Okay, one more entry deduction thing. If we trace this path here, there's 4 entries that there's 4 line segments that go across because of the dominoes, which means there can't be a 5th one in this spot. This has to be X'd. Interesting. This one's tough. This one's a bit tougher. I like it. You can see there's sort of 2 different patterns that can happen in the top here. Either this cell is shaded and then we end up with this here. We would need to shade this cell because of the 1 clue at the bottom. Or if this cell is shaded, we go around like this. And we would need to shade this cell because of the 1 clue at the bottom. Either one is still fine over there on the left side. Oh, but now we can use this too. Right, earlier on I said that the 2 was still fine either way for connections going from the left to the right. But now we have this 1 connection here. Where we either go like so or like so to create 1 entry into this 4x4 from the top. That means we can't do a shaded cell here, which will cause 2 entries to happen from the left. Or here. We only have the option to do this. Yeah, this should have been the case earlier too. Whoops. I'm sorry, I miscounted. This thing at the top is either like so or like so. I got confused. This is also 0 or 2 entries. And with 1 and 1, yeah. This, in the similar way here, this also makes an S shape. Now we have this 1 clue satisfied. We cannot shade this cell, because if we do, then we go around like this, and we need to take this cell, and that creates a self loop. So this is unshaded. There's a shaded cell in this domino. I don't think we can really use that quite yet. Hmm. I'm trying to see how overall topology is going to occur. We can't we can't place an X in this spot, because if we do, then we would end up with the self loop. This goes up. We can't connect this because then we would end up with another self loop. So this does in fact connect to this side. We do like this. So there's only one place this shaded cell can go in the second row. Yeah, that should resolve things there. Both shaded cell options are still okay for this domino next to the 3. Though I do think actually shading this cell has bad effects with a little bit look ahead. If we shade this, then this corner gets blocked off, and this corner gets blocked off, and then this one can't place a shaded cell on that row anymore. So the shaded cell goes here, and we place a shaded cell there. Now this has to get shaded because it can't connect to the rest of the loop anymore, meaning this at the top is unshaded. We have to make this loop connection happen here, which resolves those dominoes. Yeah, that goes into the corner, which makes this go up here. And now because we have this as sort of separate from here, we need 2 connections near the top middle to connect the top right to the rest. And we have our puzzle done. Very nice. Wow, that was a lot of complexity for a 10 by 10 yajilin. I definitely see why this one has a lot of likes and a 5-star difficulty. Very cool. Actually, let's see if there's another nice puzzle to do. Let's do one more. Let's see if there's another 5-star. Okay, we have a 5-star by Atomic Neon as well, so let's do that. Okay, lots of 0 clues to start off. We've got one going down here, going up here. That does seem to be all of them. Not a lot of immediately recognizable stuff. Here's one thing. In this triple of cells here, we definitely need at least one shaded cell. Because if this one is unshaded, we have this. If this one is unshaded, we have this. If this one is unshaded, we have this, and then we create a fork. So one of these 3 is shaded. Same thing with one of these 3. And those 2 triples are pointed to by these 2 clues over here, which means they both see exactly one shaded cell. And this group here at the top is all unshaded. That resolves this one, that resolves this too. That's our start here. This goes down. This 3, it can only see 1 in these 2 spots because of this one clue on the right. So we have to shade these 2 over there. This one is resolved. And I think we have the exact same deduction on the other side with this one clue and this one clue looking down. It's got to be one thing in this triple and one thing in this triple. These are all unshaded here. That was the only 3 clue here, so everything else is, yeah, either a 2 clue or a 1 clue that we haven't resolved quite yet. If we shade this cell, we create a 3rd entry in this 2x4 region here. So this has to be the shaded cell here, making this unshaded and this an X. We could still zigzag either way depending on how the other shaded clues go. So either it's this to unshade this cell, or it's this to, yeah, shade that cell and unshade this one at the top, depending on this 2 and this 1 clue, how they resolve. Although, because of this one here, we can't unshade both of these, so one of these 2 has to be the shaded cell, meaning that the rest here is unshaded to satisfy this one. Which means that is shaded. And yeah, that means one of these 2 cells is shaded here. One of these 2 cells is shaded here. We have a connection in this spot. We can do a cut going down between the 3rd and 4th columns from the right too. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then we need a 6th connection to happen here. We need to connect the bottom right to the rest of the puzzle here. This corner can resolve either way depending on how the 2 glue goes later. This 2, I guess is still fine if both of these go on the right side here, because we can do that. For this one, yeah, we do have to mark the X here because it does have to either go up or down. It can't go to the right and make both of those shaded. We do not have a disambiguation here yet. Both of these can still be like so. I'm just going to place some dots in places where we definitely cannot have a shaded cell. Right, we cannot shade this either or this because problems would occur. Right, we have 2 entries here, so we cannot cross. We sort of end up with a similar pattern as we saw before, where we either have this or this because of this diagonal cell here. So in this position, we end up with 2 ways that this could resolve. Either we go like so, we place those cells to fix the loop, and we go down here. Or this path goes up. And then we connect the rest down there. That is still both fine. Oh, one thing I should have seen earlier too. This 2 and this 2 interact, and there can't be any shaded cells on this end. Meaning we do have a shaded cell in one of those spots, which gives us this here. I don't think we can make a cut argument going down here yet, because we don't know how this bottom corner resolves quite yet. It would need one thing going across though, which cannot happen here because this would force another thing going across. So we definitely have this connection happening. There needs to be a shaded cell here because of the 2 clue and the 1 clue difference, which gives us this pattern. Right. We can't shade this cell because that would make this unshaded. Oh right, we can't shade both of these cells. Let me trial this because that would cause a branch. This 1 clue is already satisfied all the way at the top, right? I need to get better at scanning. That means for this 1 clue, we need to place this cell here. That means no connection happens in this spot. For this 2 clue, we cannot place both cells here. We cannot place both cells here. So this is, it's one of these two and one of these two. Which I guess interacts with this one in the sense that we either have this or we have that. That's fine, I guess. Also, this 1 clue over here, we either have this or we have that. And that sort of interacts with this 1 clue over here as well. It's like an X-wing, I guess. It's either this or it's that. Either way, this goes up. This connects. These are either both shaded or both unshaded. Oh, but because of the X-wing pattern, we can unshade the rest here for this 1 clue. So none of these are shaded cells. This 1 sees a shaded cell at the bottom here. This 2 needs to take this cell now. Only 2 options for this 2. This resolves the way the 2 goes over there, which gives us only 2 options for this 2. These can't connect on this edge here, which resolves the sort of X-wing-like pattern we saw earlier. Now we need to connect to the rest of the puzzle. This goes up. 2 entries in this spot mean we can't make a 3rd entry using this corner, so that's shaded. This 2 is completely satisfied now, which resolves this at the bottom. This loop segment down here needs to connect to the rest of the puzzle on the left side. That connection is resolved like this. We do a bit of simple looping here to get this done. This has to be a shaded cell. Now that satisfies the 2, and that should satisfy all clues, and we have our connection done. Wow, that was a little bit tougher than the rest of the puzzles, but I think that was very, very satisfying. We sort of applied the same sorts of deductions we saw on the puzzles before, but to a little bit of a bigger scale here. And there was this really, really neat pattern with the triples and the double one clues. I really like that here. Puzzle Square is honestly a great website with a lot of talented puzzle writers, and I do highly recommend you check it out. Thank you very much for watching. I hope you got some yajilin tips from here, and see you soon. Bye bye.